What's up, guys? I'm Eric Hines.
And I'm Chris Otto.
And this is
According to Men.
Welcome back. This is officially episode 57, but this is the first episode of a new series that we have that is going on YouTube and you're listening now to on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, which is called Iron Mind Perspective. And that's where Chris and I are just going to share from our perspective some things that we cultivate and that we execute on a daily basis to become better men. And this is a lot of a culmination of years of trying different stuff out, seeing what actually works for us, and then also seeing what works for our clients with testing stuff with them as well. So, Chris, how you doing today, bro?
Doing great, man. But listen, before we dive in, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and save this video if it resonates with you. Helps out with the algorithm and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and for those of you listening on audio only, we read every single one of our reviews. So go ahead and just give us some feedback based upon the information and the value that we provide to you. And that's all we ask, because we just don't feel like running ads and shoving any other agenda down the throat other than betterment. So what we're talking about today is, and this is a huge buzzword nowadays too, especially just in the personal development space, not even really just talking specifically masculinity, morning routine, right? And I know for both of us, it's absolutely critical because, as you've talked before, and I've probably mentioned before as well, it sets up your day for success with getting those small wins started first thing.
Yeah.
What does that look like for Chris Otto?
Successful morning routine can be different for everybody. I like to have a few constants when it comes to my morning routine, and obviously waking up in the morning and doing something that's going to, first and foremost, overcome some sort of fear or challenge, right? And then after, like a cold shower or something, and people have this, you have people who swear by cold showers, and then you have people who say, oh, you don't need to take cold showers. Cold showers are absolutely ridiculous. They're not going to help you become successful. That's not what it's about. The cold shower is about facing something that you don't want to do first thing in the morning. It's about facing that fear. It's that, damn, that water is cold as hell. I don't want to get in it, but 3, 2, 1, jump in. Mm-hmm. And that mentality right there has translated into every other area of my life. Like if I'm afraid initially to do something in reference to business, pulling the trigger on something, like starting the group coaching that we started to do, right? That's 3, 2, 1. Hey, you know what? I don't have all the answers yet, but we're going to do it anyways, and we're going to figure it out along the way. We're going to make mistakes, so what? But we're still going to get it done. We're going to make it happen. So something challenging. And it doesn't have to be a cold shower. You figure out what works for you. And then something mental, something for the mindset. Read something, learn something. And you don't have to sit there and read for 30, 40 minutes. You can do 10, 15 minutes to start off. Read a couple of pages, something that's going to benefit you in some capacity, where you're learning something new that you can apply to your life. And then something spiritual, some sort of prayer, maybe some sort of meditation. That doesn't have to take 30, 40 minutes or an hour or anything like that either. This whole morning routine thing, you can get this done pretty quickly. And I think a lot of people have reservations regarding morning routines because they think, oh, I don't have time for any of that stuff. Well, you can make time for the things that matter in your life, things that are going to benefit you, things that are going to serve your highest purpose. And you don't necessarily have to invest an entire morning into that and wonder, damn, how am I going to find the time to do this? It really doesn't take that long. And then do something physical, man. Get in the gym. You can either go to the gym to do that, or you can do your workout at home. But sweat, man. Do something that is going to move your body, because movement creates improvement.
Yeah, I think the key points here are, number one, it looks different for everybody, right? Mm-hmm. My morning routine varies from yours. It varies from the next man. And that's okay. You have to find what is going to benefit you the most and what you also prioritize the most. And that's the second point, which you bring up, which is a very important one, is we could put all these labels and excuses on why we don't do certain things, actions, or tasks in the morning. But at the end of the day, if it's important to you, you'll get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to a morning routine, the thing that I've noticed is that the things that are important to you, you got to make those non-negotiable. Because if you don't make them non-negotiable, like waking up at a certain time every single morning, not hitting the snooze button, if those aren't non-negotiable for you, you're just going to end up sleeping in. Then you're not going to have enough time to do those things that are important to you, and you're just going to wake up and just have just enough time to stop and get you a croissant or a donut or a cup of coffee, and not have the proper nutrition, and then your day just kind of trickles downhill from there.
Yeah, and I think we see this too nowadays is when the consistency isn't there, when it isn't non-negotiable, people get a bad taste in their mouth for good habits that they poorly executed on.
Exactly.
And they automatically put this persona and this stigma on cold showers, on meditation, on reading, because they were the ones that couldn't be consistent with it. And you will see this a lot of times in the health and fitness space and wellness space, where people have quote unquote tried something, which in actuality is something that they tried was on and off for maybe 2 weeks max. And then, expecting to see the most grand result. And when they don't, saying, no, I tried it, wasn't for me. That's a complete BS mentality. And that's honestly why you're stuck in the place that you are, brother. So when you are listening to Chris and I on this perspective, make sure that, again, like Chris talked about, you start small, right? Does not need to be this hour and a half long morning routine, right? Pick the things out that are going to make those small incremental improvements for you day in and day out. It could be making your bed, right? Maybe you're not organized. Maybe you're very disheveled when you wake up. Maybe that small thing, which takes less than a minute, can really alter the course of your day based upon that one action. And we've seen it time and time again in our own lives.
Yeah, that's huge too, man. Making your bed. I've been doing that 5 years now, every single morning. Even if I'm staying at a hotel, I don't rely on housekeeping to come in and make the bed for me. If I'm starting my day, that's a part of it right there. Because and think about it like this: you come home at night and you're tired and you've worked your rear end off during the day. You want to get into a nice, comfortable bed, and a bed feels so much better once it's completely made.
A clean, organized space.
Absolutely. And what that does is it creates this mentality of overcoming challenges, and it gives you a little dopamine hit too at the same time. So the more of those dopamine hits that you have with these good habits, the less likely that you're going to turn to these negative habits for dopamine hits, right? And in the years of coaching guys to remove certain vices from their life, that's when the guys who instill these successful habits in the morning and start their day stacking all of these wins are the ones that have the most success, because all of that is going to transfer into every other area of your life, because you're overcoming challenges, you're overcoming obstacles, you're getting dopamine from these accomplishments that you're having, and it ultimately becomes addictive. See, most guys already have habits, right? Most of them are negative.
Yeah.
You wake up in the morning, you've formulated these habits. One of them is probably scrolling on your daggone phone. Most people reach for their phone, they either check their emails or they're looking at social media, checking Instagram, seeing who DM'd them, seeing who liked all their stuff, right? And that's a habit that probably wastes a significant amount of time.
And you have to understand what the triggers and the gateways are to you doing that. I realized, as I know many people do this, is they use their phones for their alarms. I got a physical separate alarm clock.
Yeah.
So that when I turn that off, I'm not inclined to start going elsewhere. And we see that a lot with other habits and vices too, is it's not necessarily like one thing in particular that's negative, but it's that it's a stepping stone, it's a catalyst to a bunch of other catastrophic actions and habits and behaviors.
Yeah.
And I think too, like a morning routine is one of the best ways that you can actively stay present, right? Because we've talked about the reward feedback loop before, where a person who is subjected themselves to bad habits and vices are looking for a short-term gain or high. They're looking for something right now. But when you delay that reward and you do the hard thing first, then just like Chris said, something as simple as coming home after a long day of work and you've already made your bed, your room is tidy, your clothes are folded, everything's where it should be, then you don't have this extra added stress because you seeked the validation of getting out of the house quickly without addressing your house the way that you should have, because lo and behold, it affected you later in that same day. And that could turn a W of a day into an L simply just from shifting your attitude. Because chances are, if you're not willing to make your bed every day, and this is just a hot take, you probably don't have the right mentality to let something as simple as that not ruin or affect your day.
Yeah, I mean, it's just classic. How you do anything is how you do everything, right? And you probably got a dirty kitchen if you don't have a neat bed, or if you don't make your bed in the morning, you probably leave your dishes in the sink. Your car's probably a hot mess on the inside. Everything just, how you do that one thing is how the rest of your life probably looks.
Yeah. And if you talk about it too, from whether you're single or in a relationship, that reactionary cleanup of your mess because you're not living to a certain standard is shown on your sleeve. Just like the sloth or the greed or the gluttony, like all those things are kind of shown on your person, right? If I'm like, have a date with a girl and she wants to come over after and watch a movie, and I go, oh crap, on the way home, my place is a freaking mess because I'm a slob, then like I'm going to have to either get caught with my pants down or scramble to put on a persona that isn't even me. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I'm saying that scenario because I've been there before.
I've been in the scenario where my car's a daggone mess on the inside. I got crap everywhere. It's not vacuumed. It's not clean.
Yeah.
And take that scenario and then take the scenario where your car's clean, it's vacuumed, there's nothing in your car that's out of place. It's spick and span, it's spotless, right? How you think somebody that's going to get in your car, a female, is going to respect you more because you've got your car clean? You think she's going to have more respect for you in a dirty car? Probably more respect for you because you keep your car clean, and then you keep your place clean, and then yourself clean, and you take care of yourself. All of that. See, all of those habits start first part of your day.
Yeah.
Starts in the morning.
Yep.
And that just translates into every other area of your life. And here's the reality. If you start your day with those things that I mentioned, overcoming some sort of challenge or fear, doing something mental, doing something spiritual, doing something physical, right? The rest of your day, you have to work on the financial, to work on later on the relationship, right? Come home, and then you're not worried about having to go to the gym because you already did that. You're not too tired after work because you already took care of that. You front loaded your day with all of these successes, all of these wins and accomplishments.
Yeah, isn't it ironic how you go from I don't have the time to I'm so productive that I have nothing but time to do the other things that I wanted to do.
Yeah, and then eventually for me at least, it's going to get to the point where you're going to go to bed at night and you're going to look forward to that morning routine. You're going to look forward to waking up.
Great point.
And doing the things, because what's happening in your brain is that, wow, I've got all these accomplishments. That dopamine, your brain starts to seek that out. But it's seeking that dopamine from those natural sources, right? And it's not seeking out that unnatural amount of dopamine from things that you probably shouldn't be doing or putting in your body.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, case in point, right? Pornography is like one of the big ones.
Absolutely.
That we see a lot of men suffer from because they're just caught in that addictive feedback loop. So in review, just to go back and kind of, because I know we kind of divulged on some of the why behind the stuff. So cold showers is definitely a tool that you utilize. Meditation. Is there anything else in particular that kind of stuck out that maybe the listeners can get some value out of?
Making my bed,
Yep.
hydrating first thing in the morning,
Yep.
reading, prayer.
Just for specific sake, about how much water do you usually have when you first wake up?
Well, I mean, I used to drink 32 ounces every morning that I woke up, and I realized that that's a significant amount of water. It's probably too much, and I wasn't drinking a lot of electrolytes or hardly any electrolytes. So basically what was happening was I was flushing everything out of my system because I was drinking probably 1.5 gallons a day, which I realized was too much for me. So I scaled that back. I probably drink 16 ounces first thing in the morning. And then anything that I put in my body that is food related, or like my greens or anything like that, or a protein shake, all that comes after I hydrate.
Yeah, love that, man. That's so huge. I think that already alone, because there's legit health benefits associated with that.
And most people, and sorry to cut you off, but most
good.
people, they'll go straight to coffee. First thing when they wake up, oh, I got to have my cup of coffee.
Yep.
Man, put some H2O in your system first. Get hydrated, because you've been sleeping for, I don't know, man, 6, 7, 8 hours. Maybe some people sleep 10 hours.
Yeah.
And your body's dehydrated. I mean, you can even, when you wake up in the morning, the first thing that you do, you take a leak and it's freaking dark yellow, right? Most people.
Yeah.
I'm not saying all people, but most people.
Yeah.
So hydrate, drink some water.
Yeah, I actually don't think 1.5 gallons is too much water for you, but I think it is when you weren't having the electrolytes.
The electrolytes, yeah.
Because your body was just telling you, hey, I'm thirsty, but not for more water. Like, I need those minerals.
And those, dude, I would get,
because you're super active.
yeah, I would get the worst headaches.
I believe it.
Yeah, and I was like, where are these headaches coming from? Sometimes they're like migraines. It's ridiculous. And I was like, hold up, I need some damn electrolytes.
Yep. Yeah. Incoming sound of freedom, by the way.
Yeah,
you guys
flying all over the place today. Yeah, we live in Virginia Beach, so we're right by the naval base, and freedom is ringing loud today.
Yeah, it's funny. It seems to be on the windiest conditions. I don't know if that's purposeful to try to like get the pilots dialed into some.
Yeah, that's good perspective.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah,
could be. I can definitely relate. I think getting in electrolytes first, and then I get in anywhere between 16 to 40 ounces of water before breaking my fast.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I have my first meal, the first thing that's on my fork or my spoon is protein.
Yep.
I break my fast with protein. I have a high amount of protein with each of my meals. Cold showers, admittedly, isn't so much part of my morning routine as it used to be. I used to be super religious with it, as a lot of the listeners know. I know you know. I had a streak of 200 something days. But there's a couple of factors with that. I realized that, to be completely frank, not every morning goes exactly according to plan. And sometimes I've had to shift and stuff like that. So admittedly, it eventually became a negotiable. And I think that's something too, where you have to realize that in setting up a lot of these habits and tasks that you do in your morning routine is this something that you're truly going to be able to sustain for a long time? And if not, what are the things that are constraining you from doing so? And just have a real honest conversation with that, because I've talked with Chris many, many times about, because he can operate on a lot less sleep than I can. And there's some mornings where, admittedly, I just let the snooze button win. And it happens to the best of us. But there are a lot of things that are very similar to your morning routine that I'm hugely keen on. Making my bed. If I'm not reading a book, I'm almost always reading scripture in the morning. And I have the Bible app, so I'll either listen to it while reading the physical Bible along, or if I am really short on time, maybe something came up and nothing went according to plan, I'll listen to it through the speakers in my car on the way to the gym.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point too, because if you run out of time in the morning, you got to get to the gym because you got to get back home to shower, or if you shower at the gym and you got to get to work and all of that stuff. If there's something that you don't have time for, say like reading, I mean, throw on a podcast in your car and listen to. Your car can be like an office on wheels, or like
Yeah.
a personal development studio on wheels. So you could be listening rather than the radio, rather than the music that makes you feel good, right? Listen to something that's going to better you in some way.
Yeah, my car is like my sanctuary, man. Like there's times where I'll just sit in the parking lot or in the driveway and just compartmentalize what happened in that day, maybe the thoughts or emotions I'm going through in that moment, so that I can compose myself and tackle whatever that next thing is.
Yeah.
I'm big on, I haven't been meditating a lot recently, but I have been praying a ton. And I always intentionally start the new day by thanking God for the new day, because tomorrow is never promised. And I always kind of go around to the same verbiage of like, bless me with the opportunities to help people. I don't ever ask for material things or money. I think that always grants me the opportunity to follow his plan. So basically whomever, or whatever God puts in my path that day, I'm going to approach it, with a sincere heart and positivity that I can, despite what may have happened to me the previous day or whatever. It really just kind of resets me so that I don't like carry over from the old day like any sort of like, harbinged thoughts, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's good. Prayer is powerful, man.
It's huge.
Yeah, and it's not something that I've done for a long time, but have gotten very intentional with it as of late, and it's life changing. I've noticed some significant changes in my life, just mentally, the way I approach things, the way I view the world now. It's a lot, and my interactions with people as well.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, funny story and a testimony on prayer. So I'm part of a group that meets on Tuesday nights called Warriors for Christ, and it's a men's group where we focus on becoming better fathers, husbands, brothers, and leaders through Christ. And prayer requests come up all the time. Maybe somebody's daughter's feeling sick or something like that. And recently, one of the members in there, his daughter had like some tumors and cancer and stuff like that, kind of came up out of nowhere. And everybody in the group prayed for her. And whenever she went up to her next checkup thing, literally all the tumors were gone.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
The doctors were like, we've never seen this before. We can't explain what the heck just happened, but like basically the cancer is gone.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show that just like we talk about all the time with the brotherhood, right? There's power in having multiple people together or focused around the same mission. The same is true with intentional prayer. In fact, there's been studies I know that Dr. Joe Dispenza and his team have conducted where people have prayed and meditated in a group for one specific thing, and they've seen changes on a statistical level. From like, I think one was they prayed for the city of Chicago one day for like so many hours, and it was like 100 people, and the crime rate went down to a record low that day than it had ever been in like 10 years or something like that. Yeah. So there,
consciousness elevates.
Oh, we're all connected. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why it's in the saying of you can't change the world, change yourself. Mm-hmm. Because in changing yourself, that elevates the world, mm-hmm. right? Because it elevates the frequency, elevates consciousness. So that's why it's incumbent upon each and every person to elevate their own consciousness, elevate their own frequency, become a better version of themselves, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think ultimately, when we focus on each of these things intentionally and we bring other people along for the ride that care about us and understand like what we're going through, it actually helps to, even if you don't believe in prayer yet and you haven't tried it, it's not something that you think you're necessarily good at. That's actually what's going to help you to feel better about it, because at least you're showing that other people are caring enough to like, to think about you in that regard, in that forum. Because I know at one point in time, even though I grew up in the Christian faith and Catholicism, I think as kids, like we question everything, and there's a lot of things that we don't understand, and sometimes therefore we don't believe. But when you have very real examples right in front of your face, it's kind of hard to deny that power.
Yeah. Yeah, and I kind of want to circle back to the morning routine,
Yeah.
because in talking about elevating frequency, elevating consciousness, first thing in the morning, when you are in that state of accomplishment, in that state of overcoming, and in that state of movement, you've got all these things working synergistically that are ultimately elevating your frequency. And when you start operating at that higher frequency, then the rest of your day starts to fall in line with that higher frequency.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? Like attracts like. So if you're in a position where you're feeling good, you're doing good, the rest of your day, that's going to translate into the rest of your day. And then like evening routines. Do you have some sort of evening routine that you have in your life?
Well, I am pretty habitual in the fact that I always end up having like breakfast for dinner. So I'll have about a couple egg whites, 2 whole eggs, some low skim mozzarella, a bagel and cream cheese, and then I'll usually detach from my phone at a certain time, depending upon what time of day I get home. Usually about 9:30 is when I put it down for good for the rest of the night. And honestly, as of recent, like I know this seems silly, but just to like get my brain still engaged, I will play physical Sudoku. Like I have like a Sudoku book. And it just helps me also to kind of like get away from, hey, I've been on my phone all day, and be able to detach from that. And then usually like Kate and I are catching up on our days together, because even though a lot of times that we spend pretty much the entire workday around one another, we don't get to actually catch up on the highlights and the lowlights and improvement pieces and stuff. And so that's kind of our quality time. I mean, last year in 2024, we would watch a show or a movie, and I basically had to sit down with her and I'm like, hey, there's better things we can be doing with our time. And also, it was affecting both of our sleep, because we're getting that blue light from the television and too close to bedtime. So I try to be as intentional as I can to kind of unwind in a natural manner, and that seems to work for me.
Yeah, that's good. Reflection is pretty key for me in the evening. Just reflect on the day, successes that I had, any challenges, things that I would do different. And then, subtracting the phone, subtracting the scrolling, get that, not having that as part of like the last hour.
Yeah, I'm actually happy to report that this year, so the last 2 weeks and change, I have not tapped that reel button within Instagram. So what causes me to doom scroll and me to spend so much time on my phone in the first place was me just like wanting to, like I was justifying wanting to look at other reels out there for the sake of content creation or looking for viral audios and all this stuff. And we put this guise and this excuse on why we're doing it, but it's really just for selfish reasons of entertainment. And so I've stopped doing that, and I've noticed that not only my desire to stay on Instagram has significantly dropped, but also my desire to be on my phone. And it's allowed me to be more present with Caitlin, to be more present with the conversations and relationships that I have. Because, hey, I get my post done on all 4 pages, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm done. I don't need to look at how many likes they got. I don't need to look at other reels. I don't need to do any of that. I just post, continue living my life, stay present in the moment. And, just to double back on not only morning routine, but you brought up like how our body chemically reacts to a lot of these habits, whether they're good or bad. One of the best things that you can freaking do, and I'm remiss I didn't bring it up because it's something that both of us do, is working out first thing in the day, right? Working out first thing in the morning. It is such a good chemical release, especially if for some reason you just don't have great emotional control and you let a first text message or email that you happen to peek at or look at in the morning start to chip away at a good mood that you could have that day. That's going to immediately clear your head and your thoughts. And there's been times where I've worked out with Chris and I've had something on my mind, man. By the time we're done with that workout, there's no chance or opportunity for my brain to go back to that setting.
Yeah, and I know there's some people who just don't want to lift first thing in the morning because either they're too tired or whatever the case may be. They're more apt to being physically stronger later on in the day, and I'm not going to create an argument over that because everybody's different, and so I don't know if that's factual or not, or if that's just you telling yourself that. But what I do know is some form of physical activity. Maybe do your cardio first thing in the morning. Get out and go for a walk or get on the treadmill, get on the exercise bike or whatever cardio it is that you do. Get your body moving. And that is way better than just hopping out of the bed, taking a shower and going straight into work, or doing whatever it is that you do, right? Because, all of these things stacked together I can promise you, are definitely going to improve everything about your day.
Without a doubt. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the arguments for either side is, hey, the morning workout is going to just set your day up for success. And I know every time that I get a workout done, whether I'm walking, running, or lifting, with that endorphin rush, I have much more thoughtful, positive conversations after. It seems like my stream of consciousness is on a different level. But for a lot of people who work out in the PM, other than maybe it being a time or schedule constraint, which I think still you could work around unless you truly work, a weird shift. The argument's usually, oh, well, I can't work out fasted. They want to have food in their stomach and i.e. energy to be able to get through their workout. And I can understand or relate to that. But again, you're also, a lot of times it's a double-edged sword. If you're working out too close to your bedtime, you're going to create this unrest and kind of throw off your circadian rhythm. There are actual studies behind that show if you work out or exercise or elevate your heart rate too close to bedtime, it is going to affect the deepness of sleep, your REM sleep, and i.e. your recovery. And when we talk about routine, consistency, and non-negotiable, the name of the game is longevity. You don't want to be putting yourself in a situation or a pinch where you're playing catch up with recovery, right? If you're not sleeping well, if you're not getting in enough water, you're not getting enough calories and protein, then you're going to be playing catch up the entire time. And you're going to feel like these things that you're implementing that could ultimately be positive for you are not working. And that's just going to come all the way back to the argument that I had is, hey, you tried it out, quote unquote, and it didn't work for you, and now you're completely recalcitrant to it. That's not what it's about. It's about those simple steps that you stack and you're able to quantify and show. I have a track record of me doing this every day, and this is the difference that I've noticed.
Absolutely. And, overcoming these little challenges in the morning obviously is going to grow into being able to overcome those bigger challenges that you're destined to face later on in life.
Without a doubt. Well, this has been a great episode. I like this Iron Mind perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. So don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe.
Awesome, guys. We'll see you on the next one.
Peace.